Welcome, everyone, to the Hardin Local Weekly Podcast. I am, of course, Rachel Branningham. This weekend, downtown Elizabethtown fills up with classic cars. I look forward to this event every year. Cruisin the Heartland is back. It kicks off Thursday night at the State Theater. The car show is Friday at Freeman Lake, and Saturday, the Cruisin takes over downtown all day. They're expecting north of 2,000 cars. That's crazy. And my boys especially love this event because they love to go see and hear, and there's just a lot of cool vehicles down there. And it is officially back to school season in Hardin County. We went to open house last night. We went backpack shopping. Trojan Fest wrapped up at Central Hardin, John Hardin, and North Hardin. And Saturday, there's a free back to school bash on Skyline Drive with haircuts, backpacks, and supplies. John's got all of it for you today. I can't wait for you to jump into that, John. Here's your homework while you watch. Okay, I'm going to give you this icebreaker question. We're leading into the car show. So, what was your first car? And be honest about what happened to it. Okay, so I'm super interested to hear your all's icebreaker question, but drop your answers in the comments. We're going to read them at the end of the show. And this week, the special report Phil has been teasing for a month is finally here. He sat down on camera with the police chiefs of Elizabethtown and Radcliffe to ask the hard questions about those license plate cameras going up all over the county. He's going to tell you exactly what he found. Plus, Nate is back with Business Buzz. I've got your housing market update, and the experienced eaters are back with us. So let me introduce the crew to you all. I've got Phil Tall, who is the co-host, producer, developer of all of this. He is working nonstop behind the scenes. We just appreciate Phil so much. You're missing Scott Lucas today. He is out. He's got something that he had to attend, so he will join us again next week. Jon O'Brien with our events and happenings. I got to see a picture of Jon without his beard. I'm just saying. That's why. We've got Nate Bryan with our business news and updates. And we've got Britton here with us. Michelle might jump in, but our experienced leaders. If you're watching live, tell us where you're watching from in the comments. We love to know where our audience is watching from. Like the page, share the stream, and of course, hit subscribe on YouTube so you don't miss us. Hit subscribe everywhere, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of those good places, YouTube. You don't want to miss all of the fun that we bring to these podcasts. And of course, I like to always mention everything that we talk about today is available at hardinlocal.com, even the things that we don't have time. There's a lot of information that is shared that we can't fully share in an hour on this podcast. So you want to go and sign up at hardinlocal.com. Okay, should we do our icebreaker question really quick? Because I'm kind of curious. Run through real fast. Tell me about your first car and if you know what actually happened to it.
No, my first car was a 1989 Nissan Sentra. My aunt given me. He was like, "Buying you a car, but I'll give you this one and pay for the part." Me and one of my friends, we fixed that thing up. Nate Brady, thanks Nate, back in the and then I drove it to Atlanta and it blew up.
That's awesome. I think my boys will both have very inexpensive first vehicles because it taught me a lot of about character. My first vehicle was bought off of an auction line for $1,600. My dad made me pay him back. It was missing the side mirrors. The back seat was bolted to the roof. It had holes in it. I hand stitched that back seat back together. We put it back in. It was full of mud. I was crying. I had to scrub it out. It was it. Sometimes the power steering worked, sometimes not. That's where my muscles come from because I had to crank that baby. Occasionally, it had heat. So there were definitely days I was driving to college with my windows down so I could see out the windshield. And it overheated a lot. So I got to see a lot of the county because I was always stopped on the side of the road waiting for it to cool down. So, character building. Character building. What about you guys? Britton, what's your first vehicle?
So my mom picked out my vehicle for me. And so she had actually bought herself something pretty new that she didn't like. So I got her hand-me-down. which was a great leverage to keep me working at our restaurant, so that I had to keep making the payment. So it was way more than any kid should have had, but that was her way of making sure she kept me out of trouble. So if you have a really nice car, but you have to work all the time, or you're playing sports, then you go with it. But my first car was a 1994 Ford Explorer, and it was pretty nice. I actually had a factory CD player, so but I didn't get to use it for anything because I drove it from home to the restaurant to school and then back home. That was about it.
You were limited. I love it. John, what were you driving?
All right. So I was driving in style, but it was style in 1984. It was a 1984 Caprice Classic. Sweet ride, but it was older than anybody else had, and but everybody else, like newer cars, had those crank windows. I had that automatic up and down.
Oh, you fancy.
Oh yeah, it was nice, and we could sit tons of people in there when we go places.
That's awesome.
The worst thing though is where it's at. I was on a trip to Nashville, see Dave Matthews Band down there in Nashville. I forget what year it was. I think it was probably early mid 2000s, and I parked my car at my sister's apartment complex for the weekend while I was down there. She drove me around. She lived down there, and I went downstairs on Sunday to go home, and my car's not there. So I thought she might have moved it. I was like, "Hey," I went upstairs. You moved my car? No. It was stolen and then stripped and burned like 5 miles down the road. So yeah, that car's gone.
That's such a bummer. Well, Nate, what were you driving?
A Ford Escort in high school at Central Hardin. I totaled it in one of the last wrecks at that Ring Road 62 intersection before they put in a light, because back then there was no light. And I hit somebody that was supposed to be in a turning lane, and they decided to change lanes and floor it. And I walked away from that without a scratch. But yeah, it's a good little car. It was my mom's old car.
I almost totaled that Ford Taurus right there because my brakes went out and I flew straight through that intersection. God's angels, because nobody touched me. I just soared straight through. It was why my dad was like, "You'll figure it out. It'll be okay."
There's something to be said about driving a vehicle and the brakes going out or the master cylinder just going away.
You're just free floating at that point.
And you're like, you go and you push the brake pedal down and it goes all the way to the floor with no resistance. If you haven't ever had that happen, you're lucky. But you find out how quick of a thinker you are when that happens.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. I just remember, I just went blank. I'm like, what do I do now? 17 years old, and here I just go down this hill and just cruise. It was God. All right, guys. Well, tell us, we want to know what your first vehicle is and where is it now? So whoever has my Taurus, we sold it. I haven't seen it in years. If you have a Ford Taurus with hand stitching in the back seat, that's mine. John, you're going to jump into our events with us.
Well, let's get your jingle going.
All right. We do have a busy week and weekend, kind of like Rachel was talking about. Cruising is happening this week. Starting off with the Thursday kickoff, American Graffiti, a great old car movie, kind of sets the mood for all the cars that are going to be down here on Saturday and a car show on Friday. So if you like a good movie, come on down. It's $5. Get you a fountain drink and a popcorn as well. So can't beat that. 6 p.m. Come on down Thursday. Friday, they got the car show out at Freeman Lake. There's cash prizes, awards, music, food, vendors, free fun activities for the kids. Kids always seem to love looking at old cars, and especially like old cars that like they can't understand and don't know why they have things like they have, like door handles and things like that. These days, those cars don't even have door handles. So it's fun to see those old cars and kind of the different things they do. And then down here, the cruising, they block off the streets. That's right. So if you park down here Saturday night or Friday night, guess what? You're not going to get out. If you get an Uber or a ride home, you make sure you get your car out of the downtown area because they'll be blocking things off and you won't be able to get your car out or in. But parking is available all around, and walk up, check out all the cool cars that are going to be down here. Which one is your favorite car, Phil? You ever have like a favorite old car?
Yeah, I always watch the Gone in 60 Seconds.
Okay, yeah. Illinois.
Always been.
Yeah. Did you ever watch the original Gone in 60 Seconds?
There's an
It has like a 42-minute like car chase scene. Like it's the longest like car chase scene. Yeah, that was a remake that they did with Nicolas Cage.
I don't think I've seen
The original is sweet. Oh yeah, you got to check that one out. It's pretty cool. Like that car chase scene rivals the Blues Brothers car chase scene, which I think is the best car chase scene of any movie ever. But that's not a bad one either.
Yeah.
For sure.
What about
Let's
yours?
see. We also have Back to
What's
School.
yours?
My favorite car. So I had an '89 Ford Bronco, and that's I loved it. Ended up bad story about that one too. I was driving to work. I worked at Hardex down here downtown. And I was going around the square, and somebody had loosened the lug nuts on one of my wheels, but I had locks, so they couldn't get them off, and the tire fell off. Ended up flipping down in front of at that time it was the new courthouse. Mayor Dave Wilmoth came out and took a picture of my car upside down. In the opposite lane, facing the opposite direction. It was pretty wild. Not a scratch though on me after that. But yeah, 89 Bronco, love it, miss it.
John, that was the year I was born, 89.
89. Oh, there you go. It's a good
That's
year.
why I know that's why it's your favorite vehicle. You love that car. How many? Okay, I have one more question. How many vehicles have you totaled? Because now we got two.
So no, I didn't total that first vehicle. That was stolen, for
that's
parts,
true.
and burned. That wasn't
That's
me.
true.
Second one, again, what do you do with somebody that tries to steal your lug nuts and your tire falls off? I mean, I walked away without a scratch. I think that's an amazing feat.
It is amazing.
I did have my bowling ball. I could see it flying up behind me and back down while I was flipping. That wasn't a fun time. But
That's
again, not a
scary.
scratch. I was hanging upside down in my seatbelt, and I just unbuckled and kind of crawled out the window.
Oh my goodness.
It was not a fun morning. And I had to call my dad and said, hey, come downtown. I'm all right. Because the first time he came around the square, he saw 3 tires up in the air from my Bronco. So he knew something was wrong, but I let him know I was all right before he came down.
Oh, I bet he was worried.
So vehicles totaled, just one. But again, that was not my fault. That was someone trying to steal my tires and my wheels.
Okay, fair.
How about you? How many have you
one.
totaled? Oh, you got one? Okay, so we're even 1-1. What about everybody else? Anybody else have any totaled vehicles?
I had another Explorer after the '94 because my mom had this thing is she'd buy a car and for tax purposes through a business, and then if she didn't like it or if it wasn't as good as what she had, then she would just go back to driving what she had, and it got handed off to somebody. So like eventually the car that she gave me that she didn't like in the beginning, my first car, she ended up with, that's what she drove for, years and years and years. But I had a '97 Explorer, and I was driving, and I'd taken my great grandfather who's in the nursing home. I'd taken him out for a drive through the country before I had to be at the restaurant to work that evening. And a mailman lost his master cylinder on his car. And he was driving a '78 Mercury, and he was going down this super long hill, ran out of brake fluid, coasted through the intersection, going to stop in a cornfield while I T-boned him perfectly in the driver's side door post. That was not a pleasant experience, but walked away. I had a bloody nose from the airbag, but my 89-year-old grandfather, though, he was fine. And but yeah, that was a traumatic experience. That's the only one that I've actually totaled.
That sounds wild. Yeah, good God. Nate, how about you? You had that one wreck. I guess that was totaled, huh? All right. Goodness. So other than cars, we got back to school stuff going on this weekend, and it's coming up soon. All these kiddos are going back to school. Who's excited to have the kids go back to school? Rachel, you are. Phil, you are too, huh?
You know what I'm more excited about? I love the summer months, but I'm excited to get back into our routine. I think that's what I hear from a lot of parents is that just the routine, consistency, you know what to expect every day. When you're trying to juggle a career and kiddos are out and then you want to spend time with them. And anyway, so I think I always look forward to the end of summer for the one reason of just we get back into our routines. I'm going to be back at the gym consistently Monday through Friday, so it's not about the kids being back to school that is super exciting. It's just, we get back into our
That routine is good. I think, like I said, and especially in the summer, when you get out of a routine, it's like, oh, think they're missing out on something when they're really not. I mean, there's so much time for everything. Nobody's missing out, and hopefully they don't miss out on this fifth annual Voices of Change Back to School Bash this weekend. It's up on Skyline Drive in Elizabethtown. There's free haircuts, hairstyles, backpacks, school supplies, food, music, raffles, games, and more. I know Vic. Vic does this every year, at least for 5 years, I should say. It's a great program. A lot of free stuff given out. It's for a great cause for these kids that need things. If your kids need something, head up there. They'll take care of you for sure. Also, this week we've got a lot of stuff going on. Tomorrow, I'm excited about this one. I know, Britt's he's a big wing fan, not necessarily the non-breaded wings, but I'm sure he'll find some breaded wings somewhere tomorrow. But National Wing Day, Duff's also 1 year anniversary they're celebrating. So at Duff's, dollar wings all day long. So that's not in conjunction with any other deals. They do like lunch deals and dinner deals and pitcher deals. You can't do that. But dollar wings, you cannot beat that at all. And that's on any of their sauces, any of the things out there. I'll be there for lunch. I know, but it's a great deal. Let's see what else we got.
John,
Talking about,
do I
yeah.
do I really look like the guy that would say no to a wing based solely on whether it was breaded or unbreaded?
Not one bit, but I know you prefer the breaded. And you know what? The breaded wings remind me of when I would go to Bonanza with my grandparents, and that's the only thing I ate on the. I ate the breaded wings, and I ate the mashed potatoes and gravy. That's all I ate. And I would just have a plate of them. I'd have a plate of wings and then like a plate of mashed potatoes and gravy, and that's all I'd eat on that buffet. I know I wouldn't get my money's worth, but my parents or grandparents were paying anyway. But yeah, that's what breaded wings remind me of is Bonanza or Ponderosa, I guess. Too.
Well, now I will say this, that one of my overall favorite wing is is up in Louisville is at Mama's Mustard and Pickles, and it's a smoked wing that they deep fry. So it's still
I do
got
love those too.
It's got crisp and a great snap, so that's a little bit different. But if you're going to sauce a wing, I like the breading to hold the sauce. That's just
those are great ones too. I used to love the ones at D's Butts. They kind of were similar. They had them smoked and they would deep fry them. They was similar, kind of on that. That had that crust that was like kind of like a breading, but not a breading kind of thing. And I always love a dry rub. If I got a dry rub option, what's that?
Four Peg Smokehouse has a similar wing with like that smoked and then heated up in a fryer.
Yeah. So that gets me hungry. You know what I'm going to think about before I go to the car show? We got the all-you-can-eat pancake breakfast at Memorial Methodist, 7:30 to 10:30. So before you check out these cars, load up with some pancakes, eggs, a little bit of bacon or sausage, and your choice of milk or orange juice. $10 for adults, $5 for kids. Good little deal. And portions of that go to the Kiwanis Club. Another big thing going on Saturday is the Dirty Dog Bash. I'm wearing a shirt for them. Big event going on at it's at the sod farm, Highland Sod Farm, right?
Yeah, that's a great event. We meant to have them online, but I think something happened.
Yeah, we had them last year on here, and like I said, they're great. They come in the bar all the time, and we donate some things to them. And like we said, we sell their shirts, but they do a great thing to help bring money to that cause that we need heavily here. They had that low fee spay and neuter shelter in Radcliffe now, so that's pretty cool. Anything else that you all have to add on to this?
They just have make sure people know to go to hardinlocal.com.
That's it, because I can't talk about it all, and I get talking about wings at Ponderosa and Bonanza, and go to the website because that's where all the good stuff's at.
That's where we keep the.
I'm just going to talk about food with Britt, and we'll just have our own show and just talk about food all the time.
Hey, play you out.
I am certainly excited to be down at Cruisin the Heartland this weekend. It really is like a gathering spot. I see, the cars are so fun, but it's also a really cool place just to run into people you haven't seen in a long time. So thank you, John.
What we do know, Everbowl was supposed to go in the middle of that first building. I don't know if Bill can pull up the graphic. So if you look at the top one is what we have, which is why I labeled it green, and the red one is basically not correct anymore. So the top building on the left, Everbowl was supposed to go in the middle of it. It was a acai healthy place. I like it probably to Tropical Smoothie Cafe. It is no longer on the list. So I don't know what happened there. I think they're Northwest Oregon based somewhere, California based, but they are not listed. And on the original one, if you look on the very far top left corner, building spot 100 was 3,500 square feet. It is no longer 3,500 square feet because now we have a 101 that was not listed at 1,500 square feet, and 100 is listed as Beignets and Brews. It is a chain. They have one in Nashville. It says French Donuts on the logo. I'm trying to get more. I've reached out to them on Facebook, Instagram, trying to see a comment. I don't know who's behind it. I don't know who the owner is. I don't know opening date. But as someone who just went to New Orleans last month and had beignets at Cafe Du Monde, I've also had it at Scat Cats at Disney, which is the top place at Disney to get them. I do love my beignets. I do love getting messy. I do love powdered sugar. So I see this being a huge hit if it shows up. But it says brew. I'm assuming it's more coffee. I didn't really check the menu on as far as that. But what's your all's take on beignets?
Oh, I love me some beignets. I'm super excited to have this here local. I wondered if brew meant coffee or if it meant. Okay.
I think it does. I've never been there. Obviously, it's a chain that I don't know if they even have another one in Kentucky. I'll have to look. But I know that I think they said the closest one was Nashville.
Very cool. I hope it's really cute in there. I hope it's a fun spot to go, like almost like a coffee shop vibe.
But the color scheme looks like it's about like crumble. So for the guys, get ready for some pink.
Yeah, guys are excited about that.
Speaking of pink, I hung out at Baskin-Robbins over the weekend. They had their grand opening. I did go when they originally opened. They were packed. DJ James Hummel was out there keeping the beats. We all like him, love him. I did get a photo with Coney, but Coney, the mascot, was there. I was a little bit biffed, but Coney was a popular dude. I think they had small, like $1.31 for the 31 flavors, but it was packed. I got a Frisbee and some stickers, which I'll probably get to the niece. But it was they were rocking and rolling. You could spin the wheel for either free stuff or money off. We used it for a polar pizza. But they opened, and if you haven't been out there, they have yard games. They have a lot more space to spread out. They have some neat chairs in there. So if you keep on thinking it's like the one that me and John and Rachel grew up with, going over to the one at Governor's Manor, it's a lot different in a good way. So, and it's right across the street from Kroger. So get your groceries and get your ice cream and be all set. Going from ice cream to completely healthy, our Brigade Gym has opened. They had their grand opening on Saturday. It was packed. I had to park in the grass. Lovely me. Should have been there early. Kendra Scott was out there from the chamber. Lots of other people. Dustin Kaiser from Sicilian Bank was out there. I love the setup. I had seen it earlier before they got everything in. People were already working at it. It's if you want something high intensity, they can make it happen. They have all sorts of equipment. It is jam packed. You've got they're ran by former military people, so the veterans know what they're doing when it comes to doing it right. And if you don't know, that's off Alex Drive. So basically, if you take Ring Road and turn where that Valvoline is on the movie side, on the movie theater side, it's over there. Turn at that Valvoline, go down, and I think it's the first left. It's in that building right there, over in that first Christian church court. So this one made WDRB News, and the city backtracked. And as a realtor, I'm sure Rachel can weigh in here. So they wanted to rezone up to 50 houses, I believe, in 4 different neighborhoods to C5. The way Joel Shipper described it is that you could have a house coffee shop, house vape shop, and there wouldn't really be anything to stop it. And a lot of people said, hey, I've lived here my entire life. If I wanted to live next to a business, I would move next to a business. I mean, this isn't fair to us. Some people said that we didn't even know about it until the signs started popping up. There was no email, text, face-to-face conversation. Hey, let's have a meeting about this. Obviously, the residents spoke up, and they were not happy about it. And the city, it was supposed to be on tonight's planning commission meeting. It got tabled. It hasn't been dropped. It's just been tabled to review for more feedback. But the feedback originally was not good. As someone, John, you work downtown. There's several open spots downtown. I know of at least 2 that are being worked on, or at least 4 that are being worked on. Others, I don't even know what's going on. for me personally, I don't think we have a shortage of, hey, if you want to build a bit, and Rachel, you work in the commercial sector. If you want to put a business in E-Town, I don't think we're hurting to have a spot. I don't think we need to open up a whole lot more and just stick them in the middle of residential areas. But that's just me.
Yeah, this is certainly, I think it was certainly a surprising move. I think, from people who live down in that area that I, work with or support, will be supporting in selling at some point. It was a lot of opinions, right? There were some very extreme opinions against. There was, some of the people that I've spoken with have been very neutral in their opinion of it all. I think the passion kind of comes from wanting to protect, that downtown feel, which has a lot of residents still in it, versus it really moving to more of a commercial district. And so I see that, I was interested in attending this evening because I was curious as to the point in getting more information myself, because it certainly seemed like it came as a surprise.
And I think it's a big area that is in that footprint because again, there's certain spots that yes, it's very residential. Some aren't as residential, I think, and that's more the ones that were against it are the ones that are kind of up there behind Flyway. And I know that the city's got their master plan that they're shifting a lot of stuff down that way. From the city hall is going to be shifting down that way at some point in the future, and that may be part of that as well. Just trying to move that along.
And the last one, found out about this just today, a couple hours before we went on air. Wawa, the grand opening was tomorrow. I was excited. I wanted my Wawa sub, and I wanted to get some content. The grand opening will not be happening tomorrow morning. I have confirmation on that. If you go to Wawa's grand opening, official grand opening, it is not listed anymore. It's not even listed as postponed. They have completely removed it. Nothing was officially said by Wawa. I've reached out to local leadership. I've reached out to national for comment. I can say I can confirm that there was a gas spill last week. And if you've driven by Wawa in the last few days, Lewis Emergency Services has still been on site. I have pictures of it, but lots of people show me pictures and post about it. This is all true. They just will not comment about what happened. It has nothing to do with the roundabout because obviously this was announced way before the roundabout was even set to be done because the roundabout was set to be done until August. So they have not given official confirmation of why it was postponed or when it will be happening. But do not go out there tomorrow morning. Please do not overload them because they are not having the grand opening yet. We expected prizes and stuff and the ceremony, and that's not happening tomorrow. But I'm sure they will have one. But obviously, some things got to get in order first.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Nate. I am very excited about some of these things. I definitely want to. I didn't make it to any of the grand openings, but I certainly am going to take the boys to Baskin-Robbins, and so thank you very much for all of that information. All right, are we going to jingle?
Yeah, Nate's Business Buzz.
I think Nate's might be my favorite jingle. Just FYI, not to hurt everybody's feelings, but that end is so Nate. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Phil, you ready? We're ready to jump back in with you. I think this is, people have been waiting for this information, and I've seen some stuff on social media about this. So I'm really excited, especially that you're bringing some factual conversations with actually interviews with two public figures in the police world. So why don't we let you take it away?
All right, let's get started. Let me pull up my notes here. All right. So the article's not out yet. I'm still waiting on a couple people to get back and just clarify that I didn't vote or anything. So as soon as the article's all 100%, it'll go out. But we're going to go ahead and talk about it today, and just will be out in the next. So the article opens, if you drove into Elizabethtown today, there's a very good chance a camera or photographer or took your picture, your license plate. Not because you did anything wrong, because you drove by it. What they are, plainly, automated license plate readers made by Flock Safety, not traffic cameras. They write no tickets, and they don't have facial recognition. They capture the plate plus make, model, color, and details like a dent or a bumper sticker. There's around 67 cameras on Hardin County roads right now, with more being approved. EPD has around 40. Radcliffe has about 17, going on 23, and the sheriff's office has around 10, but I think. So what I did, my first draft leaned on stories from other places. So I went and asked the people watching the camera. on July 23rd, almost an hour on camera at EPD headquarters with Chief Jeremy Thompson and Lieutenant Alex Ruiz of EPD. And we also had Chief Jeffrey Cross from Radcliffe. Drove all the way down to just sit without me even asking, which I was thrilled about because I was trying to get in with him too. And he just they did that without me even asking. So it was pretty good. So they answered all these different questions as well. The sheriff's office answered in writing, signed letter from Sheriff John Ward, plus its actual written policy. So what these cameras have done here, I think that there's a couple really cool things that happened. Like back in September of 2023, weeks after those first cameras had gone live, a car was stolen in E-Town with a 7-month girl in the back seat. Found with a child, and then they found this child safe in under an hour. And Chief Thompson said, "There's no price tag. What's more important, putting somebody in jail or reuniting a kidnapped child with their mother?" And I have a little from our interview.
And that was within weeks of us implementing Flock. And for us to be able to get that child back, I don't care what else happens the rest of my career here at E-Town. From a Flock perspective, it will be hard to surpass that. We could have something equally. Hopefully, we don't. But that success of reuniting that infant child with that mother, there's no price tag. Marty Fulkerson, one of our city council members, said it was worth every penny we spent because we reunited that mother and that child. And at the end of the day, it did have a criminal nexus because someone stole her car, and technically that became a kidnapping. But at the end of the day, we didn't end up charging anybody. So you think, well, how's that the biggest success story? You didn't even charge anybody for stealing that car or taking that child. Because it's not always about putting somebody in jail. That is a part of it. It helps us do that. But what's more important, putting somebody in jail or reuniting a kidnapped child with their mother or their family? And to me, there's no greater success story than we can tout than that. But we have.
But anyway, that was the end of that clip. And, I just think it's really cool to see our leaders talk about that sort of thing. And recently in Radcliffe, Chief Cross had shared with me that a woman with dementia went missing in her car. And because of some of their partnerships with other police, they were able to locate her with Flock camera in Atlanta. And her family learned she was safe. So those are a couple little stories that we, and the article has a lot more because I'm trying to give both sides. And just so you know, I framed this article as a local piece. So it is not written from a national perspective on Flock. I'm writing from a local. I think there's plenty of articles out there from Flock does have some issues, but that's not what we're talking about. The honest other side. Everything I told you is true. So is this part. So there's a bunch of different things, and when you read the article, you'll see there's stories of other people abusing the system, the Flock system, using it to maybe figure out where their exes or things like that aren't appropriate. In Louisville, a Metro detective shared his login, and it was misused 27 times before anyone caught it. A Kansas police chief ran his ex-girlfriend's plate 164 times and lost his certification. 5 Georgia officers were arrested and fired just this month, caught by an internal audit. So, those are some different things. Also, there's some problems with the cameras misreading the plates, which they here in the state of Kentucky, they already have, they have to go double check that plate. Just because the system says it's a hit, they still have to go look at it with their eyes and double check. So, but there have been incidents of people in other areas that aren't as blessed with good law enforcement in their area that have had, up to 27 innocent motorists stopped and detained over misreads over the past. So those are just some of the sides that are on the downside. So I kind of want to talk about what our agencies said, which when I talk about our agency, I'm talking about EPD, Radcliffe, and Hardin County Sheriff. And also just to talk a little bit more about retention and how long they keep that data for. Kentucky's brand new law, House Bill 58, effective July 15th, lets agency keep plate data for 90 days. All 3 local agencies chose to stay at 30 days and not go up to the 90. Thompson said, "For us, the 30 days was working very well, so we're just going to leave it at that. Data that no longer exists cannot be misused. Nobody would have blinked if they had quietly tripled their window the day the law allowed it. They didn't. I'm proud of our area for that one." All right, let's see. We also checked with, how these officers are able to log in. They each have their own individual login. they have to use a real case number and a specific offense from the defined list. Tom says, like, vague information will not allow you to make an entry in our system. And also, stops, a camera alert by itself does not justify a traffic stop. The officer has to visually confirm the actual plate first. That's both local policy and new state law. And audits. And the article covers audits a lot because I think audit is how you keep everybody honest. EPD audits their audit logs monthly. Radcliffe every 30 days. Hardin County Sheriff every 90 days. None of them publish those audit results yet, but that's on my ask list. And I just told them I'd keep asking for updates on that because I think it's just there's a lot that goes into being able to do an audit report that you push out publicly. Some of our agencies just don't have a ton of staff, to be able to do that sort of thing, or it hasn't been set up yet. But the audit logs are kept. And when I say audit logs, I'm talking about every time the flock database is queried, there's a record of who queried it, what they queried it for, and it's saved. And it's saved from 130 days. But they still didn't have like a time for how long it is. So we're just kind of waiting on to figure that out as well. So there was also a moment, and I want to frame this as, I bet you they didn't have much fun, both Chief Thompson and Cross and the sheriff answering some of these questions because they weren't very nice questions. So I just asked him, what stops mass tracking? His answer was, we're not tracking you, Phil. If Phil caused a crime or a violation of law and we were going to look for you based on the violation of law, we would have a case number, we would enter that information, then and only then would we know if your car is a hit block camera. So I really respect that they answered some of these questions that they probably, none of them rolled their eyes. They were very respectful. But, this topic is just a simple topic. So I also went through and the one open question that really mattered the most is the plate photos are disposable by design, 30 days and gone. The audit logs, the record of who searched, when, where, and why, the accountability layer, and nobody has decided for how long those logs have to be kept. The new law is silent, and no local agency has classified them yet, according to what I've been told. So in my article at the beginning, once you read it, and the ones I went over, all of them were caught because a log that survived long enough for somebody to. So my position on the record is put them in the longest retention class available. Storage is cheap, trust is not. And wrapped up the interview with, if the message from law enforcement was to be uncooperative, submersive, and it's not, we're not trying to spy on you. We wouldn't be talking to you if that was the case. And Cross actually said this, which I really liked. He said, we want to be held accountable. That's what Cross is. And I think sometimes with all the bad things going on out in the world and with things that have happened over the past several years, sometimes you can really not, think the police are out to get you. But that's not the case around here with these block cameras, from what I've read and discussed. They use them as a tool to help the community safe and that. But there are concerns out there. You've read them. We know what they are. And so we just thought we'd start the conversation. So if you want to read this article when it comes out, go to hardinlocal.com and go ahead and sign up for a free account. That way, when we do publish it, you'll get an email. You'll be able to read it. And like I said, I tried to be fair and do both sides. I think I did a pretty decent job. But if you have any comments, suggestions, or you just want to have more of the conversation when this article gets out, we will provide a place for you to do that. I do think it's kind of making its rounds. I do think it's healthy for the community to have a conversation about it. But anyway, that's about all I got for now for you guys. You guys got any questions?
Bill, I'm really excited for this article to come out, and I just want to say thank you for the time that you've invested in bringing this information. It's certainly... Oh, yep.
Now go for it. I can hear you.
Okay. I was just going to say thank you for taking the time to make sure that the information that you share is correct and giving a voice to the different people involved. I think this is it's a very interesting topic, one that I think has people of all different opinions, very strong opinions. So I'm excited to read your full official article and hear from all of these different parties that you've mentioned.
Well, thanks. And we'll also have that article when it does go up. There's video clips too. So it'll have some writing, it'll be a clip, and I have the whole hour interview too, which once everything is edited, I will put the hour up. But I just was waiting on a couple more things, making sure from the EPD and Radcliffe Police that I didn't misquote or anything. As soon as they give me an okay on that, then
Awesome. I appreciate you taking the time to do that. All right. Were we jumping into the housing market update?
Who's hot on the
All right. So you all know I'm Rachel Branningham. A little background. I've been in real estate for over a decade here in this area. Of course, I grew up in construction. So watched the housing market in our industry, stood next to my dad in business through the housing crash and crisis back in 2008 and 2009. So all that to be said, I got a little bit of information to share with you guys. Everything that I share comes directly from the Heart of Kentucky MLS, specifically focused on the last week. But of course, we measure the last 30 days. I want to start by directing you guys to the Hardin local website. There is a housing market tab that actually maps the trends. I had someone reach out to me and was like, I love your information that you share. Is there any way to see the data that's been collected over the last 6 months so we can actually see where we're at as far as those trends? And so I just want to make sure everybody knows hardinlocal.com, click on the housing market update. There are some really cool graphs there that spell out the numbers that I share with you weekly, so you guys can kind of see how the market is adjusting. I want to kind of go through our numbers. The market is very stable. And by stable, I mean it's not really a buyer's market or a seller's market. We are really sitting in a place where it's all about pricing. It's all about placing your property at a smart sales number, and condition is very, very important right now. And also understanding that at different price points, your house is probably going to take a little bit longer. And for buyers, understanding that having 20 or 30 days on market doesn't make anything wrong with the property. It simply is just part of the housing market today. This week in Hardin County, we saw 23 new homes come to the market. 23 homes went under contract, and 20 families moved into their new homes. We currently have 416 active listings. Interesting information. That's pretty steady in comparison to last week. We were seeing it climb rather rapidly, and so this is more of a steady listing since the past couple weeks. We have 113 homes sold over the last 30 days, 82 days average on market. We're climbing now. So we were down in the 70s for a significant amount of weeks, probably 8 weeks in a row. We were in the 70s. We have now gone up into the 80s. Of course, some of that is due to the holidays, but I would imagine we'll be there or higher for the rest of the year. Reasoning for that, of course, next up, kids go back to school, sports begin. Then we head into the holiday season, and then we're in the cold months of winter. So that 80 plus is kind of expected, even in a stable, consistent market condition. Average list price came in at $354,650. Average sold price, $324,035. So we've continuously seen that gap tighten. I think what we're actually going to find on today's graph is that gap has expanded a little bit. There's more of a gap there in comparison to how there was a couple weeks ago. But once again, as days on market increases, that gap is kind of understood and expected because you have longer days on market. And so buyer perception is that they can get a little bit of a better deal. So when people are making you a little bit more of an aggressive offer on your property, just know they're not trying to insult you. They're probably being counseled by an agent in the background who's saying, hey, your home has been on the market for this amount of time. Now, that's not across the board. We are still seeing properties at all price points go pending very, very close to list price. Median sold price is currently in Hardin County, $290,000. So a few things I want to break down. We have basically 5 different markets inside of Hardin County. And I'd like to run through these because depending on the price that you are buying and selling in, your experience is going to be impacted by these numbers. Okay. So under $250,000, which is underneath that median sale price in Hardin County, there are 93 active listings, 42 homes sold in the last 30 days, and that puts you at 2.2 months of inventory. So just know that is a seller's market, okay? They're going to probably get close to full price. You may or may not get repairs, closing costs, those kinds of things. So just know if you're entering the market at that price point, that is a seller's market currently. Between 250 and 400,000, we have 204 active listings as of today. 50 homes sold in the last 30 days, putting us at 4.1 months of inventory. 4.1 months of inventory puts us in a buyer leaning market. Okay, so buyers are going to have more power in that market. They're going to be able to ask for closing costs. They're going to be able to ask for repairs, might even get a little bit off the sale price. So just know you're searching between that 250 to 4, or planning to sell your house, or your house is active on the market. You need to look very specifically at list price. Probably need to be a little bit more aggressive than maybe you expected to be with the amount of inventory that's available in that price point. Between 400 and 600,000, we have 92 active listings on the market. Only 12 homes sold in the last 30 days, putting us at a lot of inventory, 7.7 months of inventory. This is dramatically a buyer's market, okay? So if you are marketing a property between 400 and 600,000, just know you're going to have to be very favorable for buyers. You're going to have to adjust your sales price, probably offer rate buy downs, offer closing cost support, etc., because there's just not a lot of inventory moving in that category. Between 600 and 800,000, we have 16 active listings, 7 homes sold. So actually, it's weird because that lower price point, slow moving, but then between 6 and 800, we've only got 2.3 months of inventory available on the market. So once again, back to a seller's market. Luxury market, that's anything over 800,000, 13 active listings, 3 homes sold in the last 30 days, putting us at a very balanced market. It's actually not a buyer or a seller market. So very, very balanced there, which is surprising because, of course, you know, you're getting into your 1 million plus in that category. And so the expectation is typically that those homes are taking longer to sell. However, you know, some of these, this time of year, we're seeing some of that shift. We're actually seeing some of those more expensive homes move. So, and there's very little inventory in that price range. So if you are considering selling and you want to give it a shot, it doesn't hurt to put your house on the market, test the market condition. And, you know, with the 4.3 months of inventory, probably have a good shot at getting it sold at this point. All right, guys, value, of course, is winning. So you want to make very sure that the property, before even listing, it stands out from its peers. What I'm coaching my agents on right now is you, of course, look at sold properties because that's what appraisers use to evaluate a value of a property. So you want to look at 6 months and about a 10-mile radius to determine value for an appraiser. And you want to compare it as close as possible, apples to apples. But the most important thing to me right now with the amount of inventory that we have available is to analyze your competition, right? You want to look at the active homes in your price point, in your area, in your neighborhood to kind of determine how you need to stand out from the rest because there's just a lot of inventory sitting. So ask your agent, are you guys looking at active inventory? And then, of course, I always like to take a glance at what's pending because those are the sellers who have actually successfully turned the page and are headed to the closing table. So that's a great way to analyze your listing strategy. To kind of wrap this up, you know, I think it's about positioning right now for both buyers and sellers. I would take an analysis of, as a buyer, I would take an analysis of the property prior to offering. And if it has everything you need and is in excellent condition, we're still in certain price points in a seller's market. So I would go after it and I would take that opportunity to purchase that home. However, if you're a seller, and I think it's all about positioning again, I think it's about curb appeal, it's about the property condition, and most importantly, it's about your sale price. I'm going to continue watching very carefully inventory. That's something I'm interested to see and how it performs, especially as we head into kind of the slower months of school being back in and then the holiday season. So I'm interested to see if inventory continues to rise or if it kind of plateaus with people not even wanting to sell their homes during the busy season. So we will keep an eye on that. The Hardin County housing market isn't really rewarding urgency anymore. It's rewarding value. Buyers are willing to act quickly when they find the right home, but sellers must earn confidence through pricing, preparation, and presentation. All right, guys, I will see you next week for the housing market update. All right, I think it's time for my favorite segment because I'm a foodie and I love food. Britton, is Michelle joining us this week, or do we just have...
So Michelle's currently doing a mother of the groom appointment with one of our dress customers, so I don't think she's going to make it out. I've been shushed a couple of times, and I've had to wrangle the dog, hurt the Frenchies. So that's just kind of how that's been rolled. But tonight the segment today was part of that we did from the other night when we went out for our anniversary. So that was actually a month ago, but don't tell anybody. So it was our anniversary dinner. But we was able to get out and had a fantastic meal at 2B. So yeah, it's so we were able to get out and see Patrick a couple. It's been, I guess, probably about a month ago that we were out, and just always a great meal to be able to go out and visit and get taken care of and get some great things going on.
That's great. Are you ready to get started on this one?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So anytime we go to 2B Thai, we always start out with the sampler platter. You got the money bags, the spring rolls, the chicken satay. And then, those are always fantastic. It's a great value. And I'm telling you, the thing, Rachel, you eat there a lot. You know how fast they are. And I mean, it's like you sit down and say, hey, we want the appetizer sampler. And then they turn around, they bring you drinks, and then boom, there it is. And then you're like, this is what we want for our entree. And like you're halfway through the appetizer, boom, there it is. And I think, that's because the Thai food's cooked at super high temperatures. And everything's just kind of flash cooked at how it comes out. But we worked through there. I think Michelle's favorite thing on this entire plate is the spring roll with this little peach sauce it's like a peach mango sauce. It's absolutely fantastic. And you can see the she just tells you with her facial expression right there that was there. That was hers. And then this is pineapple fried rice. And then this is Penang curry. And Penang curry is in coconut milk. It's got veggies. It's kind of sweet and spicy. And then the pineapple fried rice is very savory, but it's also kind of got all sweetness to it. And so we like to mix them together. And it comes out. It's just fantastic. Patrick's always there. He always, it was funny. We were sitting there and he goes, I've seen some of your videos. When am I getting put on? And so I went to his Instagram. I was like, Patrick, you haven't had a post on your Instagram since 2020. He's like, well, help me out with that. So that was kind of how we did that there. And, we sat there, we had a great meal, got to visit with Patrick and his family's old friends. And, the thing that I think is most interesting about 2B Thai is if I were planning for all of us to go out for a meal, or if I had company come into town and I wasn't going to cook, this would be the first place that I would say, hey, let's go. There's enough variety that everybody can find something that they like. Whether you like it mild, whether you like it spicy, whether you want healthier, or maybe you want to indulge a little bit because he's got a pork belly dish that's out of this world. But it's one of those places for the price point, the value is unbelievable. The quality is off the chart. Service is great. It's just somewhere that I know I can go. They don't miss, and it's my highest rated restaurant in Hardin County. Every time. Do that, Phil. I know that I saw I posted this video yesterday before we talked about doing it. It was in my queue to publish, and I saw that your mom commented on it, and I know that she feels kind of the same way. That for your family, that 2B Thai is one of the preferred places to go as well. And so, we're just fortunate to be able to have a place like that here, and locally owned, somebody that's invested in our community and that was committed to. Fantastic service for those that choose to go there.
I'm going to be taking a whole group of girls over tonight, so I've got people in town, and I'm like, the one place you can't miss is 2B Thai. So you just got me in the mood.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Me too. Make sure you guys check out the Experienced Eater on Facebook, and on our website you can go to food reviews link for restaurant reviews, and there's a button to Britton and Michelle's link tree that has all their links. Go follow them everywhere.
No problem. Britton, tell Michelle we said hi.
I sure will. And and we've got we have had a pretty intensive few weeks of or a couple of weeks where we've been out and had a chance to shoot quite a bit of local content. So I'm pretty excited. we went back to the Hub House about I don't know, a week after we were there. I've got a good review of that that's on deck. We've been back to Namaste. We're going to hit. I think tomorrow we are going to hit the Wingstop in Radcliffe for Wing Day. So yeah, I mean it's a good time to be a foodie in Hardin County.
That's a fact.
I couldn't agree more. All right, guys. Well, Phil, do we have any comments? I know we haven't pulled up any comments yet. Have we got any that we need to pull up on screen?
There was a couple, but I'm still working through the process of being able to add those easily. I have to do them manually now.
Okay.
So let me just go through here and say, Christopher King, thanks for commenting on the Vine Grove has a few flock cameras. I knew that. I just forgot to add it into the article, so we're just going to pretend like I didn't know about that. But the point of the article was to get those agency leaders to just do an interview and to explain to us how those systems work. I'll probably do a follow-up and talk to Vine Grove as well. Thank you for that info. We also had David say, good afternoon. Thank you, David. He's watching from home on Facebook.
Perfect. Well, and I just want to remind everybody, White Mills Days, that's the 51st in, it's Friday and Saturday, August 14th and 15th. So just make sure to mark your calendar. Also, we will see you downtown this weekend. I'm super excited about Cruisin the Heartland. Keep an eye on hardinlocal.com for Phil's full flock camera report and the complete interview video. It's going to be coming soon. Everything from today is at hardinlocal.com. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, anywhere that you like to watch. We like to know where you're watching from, so make sure you subscribe. And we hope you guys have a wonderful week. We'll be right here, same time, same place next week. We can't wait to spend more time with you guys.
Have a great